welcome to another episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast. I'm really excited about today's guest because I listened to her podcast that she hosts with her mum, Table Manners, and the whole time I'm like, I want to be there. I want to be having dinner with them. Not only that, she's an amazing singer-songwriter and mother of two. It's Jessie Ware.
Oh my God, I've really been looking forward to meeting you.
Have you?
I feel like I know you already. Yeah, I've been that annoying person that, well, no, not annoying. I've just been, liking lots of your Instagram posts, listening to Happy, I was going to get it wrong. This is Baby Brain. Happy Baby, Happy Mum, Happy Baby. But anyway, I'm a massive fan and I think you're fantastic and it's a real treat to be on this.
Oh, thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, let's get chatting.
Yeah, come on then.
What was your childhood like?
I think it was quite a happy one. It was full of fighting with my brother and sister. I've got a fake tooth from my sister with the bathtub. I pulled my brother's arms out of the socket. It was kind of, every day in the Ware household there was something broken. No, it was loud. It was quite exciting. And I have quite fond memories, I think.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a mum? And not have
Absolutely.
a family?
More than anything in the world, I knew I wanted to be a mum.
And did you have an idea in your head of when?
I thought I really wanted to be I wanted to be in like mid-20s, late 20s mum. I don't know why I was obsessing about what age I'd be when they were going to be 21.
But you do, don't you? You
so
do the silly
stupid.
things.
Yeah.
I remember my sister saying that she wanted to be a mum when she was 26. So that became the age that I wanted to.
How old were you when you had?
29, 30? 29.
Okay.
How old am I? Yeah, 29.
Fine.
But in my head, like that figure was only there because my sister had said it.
And that's still quite young now.
Yeah.
I think I had my daughter when I was 30, about to be 31.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to be a young mum. And then, you know what? I mean, some of my friends had kids around 27 and now they're laughing. But like they've got like 9-year-olds and they're like being able to do things together and it's like kind of less mental. But I was just starting my career at 27, really. And so I started, well, not even late. Like I think I've done it at the most perfect time, but I had this obsession about being a young mum.
Yeah. That's so funny. There's so many similarities with me.
Yeah.
Suddenly my book career, like my writing career took off at a point where I thought I would be doing the motherhood thing.
And it's, I think we've got a similar thing where we've known our partners forever.
Yeah.
You went to school
Yeah.
together. I mean, I went to school with Sam at primary school. Wow. Yeah, but I mean, we weren't going out when we were in primary school.
But
we
did
didn't
you
even speak
always
to
know each other? Did you
We knew each
flirt?
other, but we bumped into each other at like drum and bass rave when we were like 16. And I was like, oh, there's Sam Burrows from Honeywell. And then we re-met properly and like fell for each other when we were like 17, 18. So we've been together since we were 18. So it's very similar to you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I guess we could have started a bit earlier, but...
Don't you find it that thing, though, because when you get together so young, you're still exploring and you're still, living life, and you kind of almost forget that those are the other steps. You might talk about it, like me and Tom had a list of names. Yeah. We always knew that that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
But actually getting down and doing it, taking a plunge and having kids.
Sex?
No, back then I'm sure there was lots of sex, more than now. But I think the actual taking the plunge and going, right, we want kids. Let's actually make this happen. It's a big step.
Yeah. And I think, speaking about myself, I was in this weird situation where I didn't feel like I'd fully achieved everything in music. Mm-hmm. The podcast wasn't happening yet. And I felt like if it was like almost a sacrifice on my career, which was mad because it hasn't been at all. But in my head, it's the music industry, as you will know, it's a really odd industry. And I think sometimes women are perceived as having a bit of a shelf life with music as pop and whatnot. And not that I really make pop music. And but I was like, if I have a baby now, what's going to happen with my career? And I don't feel like I've made enough of it yet. And in my head, I think I thought that I was going to, initially when I was dreaming about having babies when I was younger, I was like, well, that will be everything
That's
for me.
what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. And it absolutely hasn't been. And it was really Annie Mac, the DJ, who you should absolutely get on. She's not just a DJ, she's a businesswoman, she's inspiring, she's been like basically my mentor. And I rung her and I was like, am I stupid to go for a baby when think I was like after album 2, and she was like, do it. She was like, it'll make you work harder. You'll be more successful. You'll have your amazing child. She was like, absolutely do it. And you never know how long it's going to take. And she was just like, just forget about the music. It will all work out. And it absolutely has. And it's been, I mean, it's, of course, it's a balancing act, isn't it, all the time? But
Did you fall pregnant easily?
I did, and I feel really guilty about that.
Don't.
Yeah, it was really easy. So then I was like, well, that was too easy. So obviously I'm going to miscarry, and luckily I didn't with either of them, and it was very, very lucky. And I've had lots of friends that have not found it easy, and I do feel slightly guilty about that. But yeah, no,
it's funny, isn't it? Because you never want to have those worries. And I think anyone who is having difficulties falling pregnant wouldn't wish it on other people.
No, I know.
So when it does, it is weird that guilt. I mean, I always say that the guilt is with you from day one. And that is the perfect example of that guilt.
Yeah. I think, and then I don't know, it's like horses for courses, isn't it? But so I really struggle with breastfeeding. Like, I struggle so much. So I'm like, okay, well, and I know they're two different things. I'm very lucky that I've got my baby to attempt to breastfeed. But, I think everyone, it's different for everybody. But yeah, I feel really lucky that happened so quickly.
Were you surprised when you found out?
I mean, I'm such a control freak. I had a period tracker. So I guess
only 30% chance. If everything is right with you, everything is right with your partner, and you do it at the right time, there's still only a 30% chance of falling pregnant.
Oh, bloody hell, we are lucky then. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But I think I'm such a pessimist that, I was so stressed. I think you're stressed out worrying about it until you get past that 20-week scan that makes it feel slightly more real. It's that weird, the longest 12 weeks of your life, aren't they?
So strange.
Ugh, yeah.
And that...
excitement, don't want to feel too much excitement because what if it doesn't work out? Yeah, no.
Did you tell anyone in that 12 weeks?
Yeah, I definitely told people. And the second time it was really weird because a newspaper approached my old record label and said, we believe Jessie Ware is pregnant. I don't know how they knew, apart from I've been doing festivals and maybe the wind had blown on my... you show a bit more on the second one, don't you? But I had to call my president and be like, before you hear this from somebody else, this is what's going to... I mean, it was really odd to be pushed into that situation, but, very lucky that everything worked out. And he was cool and he was like, of course, great, amazing.
Because that's the difficult thing as well, isn't it? Sort of planning ahead.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing where someone who I know said to me, it was at a time when I wasn't even thinking about trying for a family, but she said, don't put off that stuff, because I think she'd been working with someone who was in her 80s, never had a family, and that lady had said to her, now I have nothing. And, all those audiences that I've acted in front of and performed, and, they love me in that moment. And I sacrificed so much, and now I'm on my own.
Oh, God.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? You kind of feel that that's your everything, but actually there is another level to life.
Yeah, and look, I feel like life is very interesting and exciting now that I have kids. I'm knackered, but it feels quite grey before they came into my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like me having a really silly job as it is, which is very fun. But no, it definitely puts things into perspective. I mean, maybe I'm feeling pretty great because my son slept through the night, basically for the first time last night.
Let's talk about them coming into the world.
Yeah.
What was your first labour like?
It was I laugh about it so much. It was kind of amazing. I felt like I was in a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, or like a kind of Bridesmaids if they were going to do a film of giving birth. It was, I guess they did Knocked Up, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, he did it. It was, I'd basically prepped so much for this birth.
How did you prep?
Oh, man. I threw money at the
Really?
Oh, yes. I was so worried about the birth. I wanted children beyond belief. I was so scared about the actual birth. I didn't really understand how that could come out of your fanny.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand it. And my mate Quentin had a really quick birth. And I said, how did you do it? She was like 4 hours. And I was like, how did you do it? This is when I didn't know enough about things, by the way. and she went, I went to see this woman. She made me drink some teas, stretched out my fanny, like, you'll be cool. So I went to see this incredible woman who is my friend and I adore, Gary Mother, who is brought water births over to the UK, and she is kind of an Ayurvedic hypnotherapy, gentle birth guru, wonderful woman. I adore her so much, and she was so important and integral to the second birth, bizarrely, because I kind of saw her less in the second birth pregnancy. But yeah, so I went to see her. I was having lots of lymphatic drainages. I think I kind of over-prepared for the first birth.
Right.
But the first birth, I was 9 days overdue. And I was like, I'd gone gluten and sugar free. I'd like done all this prep. I was treating it like it was the biggest marathon of my life, which actually it is pretty, the stamina that is, it's pretty full on, isn't it? I had these amazing, I had the best snacks that were all gluten and sugar free, which definitely you don't want to eat when you're giving birth and you've been vomiting for 24 hours and you get given a flaxseed cracker. That's crap.
Give me the jelly babies.
Yeah. Why? And I said this to Gary. I was like, I had all sugar free. She was like, no, you can have sugar by the birth. Like, pause. Anyway, so Gary was incredible. I was kind of drinking these teas. I was doing lots of massage, craniosacral therapy, reflexology, acupuncture. I was like doing the whole shebang. And my mum was like, you're mental. She was like, darling, just have the epidural. Just have it. And somebody after the first birth, she went, treat yourself to an epidural next time. So anyway, birth, went in, started getting rumblings, tried to not think about it too much, you know how they say. Went for a massive walk with our dog, and then what happened, tried to just not... we watched that bloody, what's it called, Zootopia? Because they say, watch something that will make you feel light and happy. So we watched some cartoon that was really sweet. So things are starting to bubble, but totally in the zone. And then, shit got real in the evening, and I was like, they were coming thick and fast, the contractions, surges, whatever you want to call them. And my husband, I was like, call them. They're coming every, 3 and 10.
Right.
I was like, they're coming, the baby's on its way. I'd made this amazing kind of, I was playing Blue Nile and this amazing band that I love. I had, vaporized, humidifier, everything was just it was Shanti on. It was amazing vibes. And Sam rings up the midwife and he's like, yeah. And they were like, how is she? And he was like, she seems okay. And I was like, I'm just killing this hypnobirthing. I'm smacking it. And they went, I don't think she should come in. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, babe, I'm absolutely bossing this. We just need to go to the hospital and that's what we're going to do. So we were living in East London and we were going to UCH because for some reason I thought, because my brother was a junior doctor there, I'd get preferential treatment. Of course I wasn't going to, because he's not even an obstetrician. So I was like, no, we're going to go to UCH. It was a massive schlep from Dalston.
Right.
But we went at 2 a.m. and we got sent home. She was like, you're 2 centimeters dilated. I was like, you. Everything went out the window. She was like, do you want me to give you a sweep?
Oh, you're nice then.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, gone. And she gave me a sweep. It made it go from 0 to 100. And then she was like, right, go home. And I was like, no, what are you saying?
You just did that to me and now I'm going to go.
It was it went from, I thought that was what contractions felt like to then this. And I was like, oh,
it's intense when it's
so intense. Yeah. And then got home, laboured. I went into that zone of I was kind of like an animal and kind of not really, it seemed very high, and it was and then we got back in at rush hour on a Monday in the first rain of September.
Oh, God.
And the taxi driver kept on saying, why aren't you going to Homerton? And I was like, because I'm going to UCH, shut up. Took 50 minutes to get there. I was just and I'd gone, because I was trying to maintain the hypnotherapy, I had Gary in my ears with massive headphones like we're wearing now. I had my big Celine glasses on, a Adidas hoodie and tracksuit, and then my sliders. I looked like Honey G. And I looked mental, and then I was groaning, having the contractions in the lift. And this woman just went up to me. She went, "You're doing really well." And I just like, "Rah!" Anyway, the baby did not come.
Why
for
they
ages.
say though, can we speak to her? Because otherwise, so if you're there going, yes, it's going really well, they're like, nah, you're not there yet.
No, I know, and that's it. And then anyway, I asked for all the drugs in the world, even though I wanted totally natural. They wouldn't give them to me because of my birth plan. I was like, the birth plan, ignore the birth plan. Sam was like, you don't want this. You've prepared so much for this to have this birth the way you want. I was like, no, just give me something. Anyway, writhed around. Oh, this is a good part to the story. We were put in like a broom cupboard, which actually worked out really great. So I didn't get the water birth or anything like that because it was really busy. And I was high as a kite, and I'm writhing around, and I'm talking about British Bake Off, and there was this girl just sitting there, and she'd been there for about an hour, just kind of not really doing anything. And Sam, it's hard for the partner because they're not in that next level zone that you're in. And he said, "Sorry, what are you? What are you doing here?" She went, "Oh, I'm just on work experience." And he went, "I think you need to go." And she was just there. I know. It was quite funny though. And I was there because one of my mates was training to be a midwife. So I was like, "Babe, how many births are you up to?" Wow, like into the next contraction. And I was just like, and she was just on work experience.
Oh my God.
I know. Anyway, it was funny. Anyway, I had the most amazing male midwife, and we'd been pushing for 2 hours. And I thought that 2 hours was like the cutoff.
Mm.
And I said, "Is it time for intervention? Do we need to get the forceps out? Emilio, is it time?" Because I was really compass mentis. It's amazing when you get into the pushing. For me, I was like, bang, okay, let's go. It's game time. Like, let's do this. And I was like this superhero warrior woman from going to this kind of high as a kite person before.
Yeah.
I was like, right, on the prize, let's do this. And I just couldn't get her out. And the playlist had gone to shit by this point. And we were like, and she was born to Bob Marley, One Love, accidentally. It was not a choice. He was at the bottom of the playlist. I had Sade and Frank Ocean and people like that at the top. And Bob Marley was at the end. One Love. She came out. She's very happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, and he said, "No, we won't. Don't worry, you're doing really, really well." And I was like, "I'm really not." Because anyway, my husband had bought TRX. Have you ever used a TRX?
No.
It's like a workout thing.
Because he's a PT.
Yeah.
You're right.
And he's with me with PT, and he's an amazing PT, but I don't listen to him.
Yeah.
I know better than him, of course.
Of course.
Anyway, he brought this TRX band to hook over the door, which is like, so you can kind of use your body weight, and you can, like, straps. You can do pull-ups on it, everything. I wasn't doing pull-ups, but I was holding it for resistance, and I was doing the deepest squat I've ever done. And he told me to do that. We tried everything else. And I'd done amazing active yoga with this amazing woman called Anne, who is in Hackney. If anybody's in Hackney, you need to see her. She does it at the Yoga Body Centre, and she does this couples yoga, and she was amazing. So Sam was really understanding how to, like, maneuver my body and, like, really trying to open it up. And anyway, he was like, "Get on the TRX, do a massive squat," and she came out. So I kind of, like, Sam felt really proud of himself.
Yeah.
Because, the partner can play as active role if they want or not, or they can just be really annoying.
And also, you don't know how you're going to feel in that moment and what you're going to need.
Totally.
So you could talk about this nice little fingertip massage. In the moment, you'd be like, "Get off me."
Yeah, exactly. But he was amazing. I felt like we were such a team. And it was like, he cried so much. I was kind of like just on adrenaline. So I was like, there, and he was like, "She's bleeding out, someone save my wife." And he was like, "It's fine, don't worry." Anyway, so it was amazing. Like, that was so positive. So I feel like I had a natural birth.
Yeah.
I didn't tear. All that money that I spent was hopefully worthwhile.
What was it like when you actually met her and she was in your arms?
She was just little. It was amazing. It felt quite surreal. I don't think I remember my mum was just ready to come over, and I felt like a grown-up all of a sudden, I think. And my husband made me feel like a goddess as well, that it was just like this incredible thing. And then you kind of want to remind them of that when they forget.
Remember that time you saw me push a human out my food?
Yeah, exactly. It was just, I don't know, it just felt like she'd always been there, really.
How was it becoming a mum and having a newborn? Because obviously your life is quite very different. I always think that juxtaposition of being on stage and being that creative and then being at home with a newborn where they're not really listening to you quite so much.
It was amazing to just kind of stop for a second and just take stock of this incredible little thing and it to not be focused on all the silly things of music. It was amazing, but I did feel like after about 8 weeks, I was ready to start talking about work again.
Really?
Even though she was in the sling and I was walking and I was taking her to a music class and I'd be like, right, what are we doing? Da-da-da. But I think I was in a different headspace then. You know what? And that's something I said, I'm going to take so much more time off with my son. I haven't at all. But weirdly, I think doing the podcast, he's been at the dinner table when he was... I was breastfeeding in front of bloody Kiefer Sutherland whilst giving him brisket for... weird situations.
Let's talk about the second birth quickly, because I know that
I had a home birth.
You had a home birth?
Yeah. I have to say, it was magical. My mum thought I was mad doing it. My brother, who's a doctor, thought I was mad doing it. Gave me all these stats of being like, you are stupid. I'd done so much research into natural birth with my first baby, and I believed so much in Gary Mother and her kind of gentle birth method, and Holly de Cruz that doesn't mean that you can't have a brilliant birth in a hospital, because I had an amazing birth.
Yeah, I had 3 amazing births.
I think my husband was born in a bathtub in Brixton in a commune. I mean, his mum had 2 home birth. She said it was so easy. She said it just felt like a bit of a bad tummy, and then he was out. She had this very rose-tinted version of it. And I think my husband was very keen for us to do it because we'd had such a positive first birth.
Yeah.
Where it was essentially natural, apart from a little bit of diamorphine, you know what I mean? And so I kind of said, yeah, sure. And I think I did it slightly at the beginning for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I think I was like, I'm doing it for my husband and for the kind of legacy of the Burrows family that are, but then in my head I was like, no, I can do this. Like, I believe that your body is made to kind of do these amazing things when you're giving birth. And I'd been very lucky. So when I went for my first checkup with the midwife, she said, how was your first birth? And I was like, it was great, natural, no tearing, blah, blah. She was like, you should have a home birth. And the lazy person in me was like, you get all your appointments at home?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, that sounds wicked. So, and then you can always choose to go to hospital. So my home birth team, honestly, I have to shout them out. Like, Francine and Annie were just amazing. I love them so much. It was Homerton Hospital. And so they'd come over, and I remember Francine just thought, who the fuck is this woman? Like, I was just chatting, like giving her all the stats, and she was like, back the fuck off. Anyway, we became such good friends. I adored them. It was so magical.
How much did they come over beforehand then?
It was like all the checkups that you have when you go to the hospital or you go to your midwife, whether that's at the GP or whatever. So they do that. And then near the end, when I was 2 weeks overdue and I was about to be induced, and I had a doula on the second birth actually too.
Really?
Amy, who was fantastic. Because I thought, if I'm going to have a home birth, and I think maybe it was because I wasn't fully committed to having the home birth.
Yeah.
And maybe I started out doing it for the wrong reasons. I thought, well, if I'm going to have a home birth, then I know what I'll be like. I'll be like, this is feeling wrong. We need to go to hospital. So I thought a doula would be so amazing for that, being able to calm me. And Sam, Sam was so incredible in the first birth. So
was she recommended, or?
She was recommended through my producer, James Ford's wife, who's amazing, Serene. They'd had her, and they said she's brilliant.
Yeah,
she was a right hippie, and I love that. So we did like the closing of the bone ceremony, like all that.
Yes.
Into
Holly
it.
de Cruz talked about it
Love
with me,
it.
and then we never actually did
Love.
it.
So and she'd do these amazing kind of couples meditations, and I'm really highly strung and a massive control freak, but I do believe in all that.
Yeah.
And I need somebody else to guide me. Otherwise, I'll be like, right, let's talk about work or do something else. So, but it was very interesting, second birth, because it was at home. He was 2 weeks late. I'd gone into the hospital that morning to negotiate not being induced.
Right.
I said, can I take the pessary? I was 13 days overdue. So I still had that one day. Once you get to 12 o'clock at night, you're high risk as soon as it's like that. So there was all this kind of juggling and kind of trying to make sure the hospital were happy for me to be at home, but whatever. And also, I wasn't going to be that person that was like, I'm not going into hospital. I was like, I want this baby out.
Yeah.
I want the baby safe. And so I went in and I said, look, can you give me the pessary? And then I can go home and hopefully it will kickstart and labour at home and hopefully it would happen. She was like, you're too far gone. You're too dilated. So we're going to have to break your waters. And I was like, oh God. And that's like with the coat hanger thing. And it scared the shit out of me. So, we negotiated to come back that evening and then do our waters breaking then. I sobbed on the phone to my doula and I was like, and she was like, this is going to be amazing. Whatever happens, we're going to see your baby be born and it's going to be amazing and you're going to do so well. And I think I was really scared about the induction because I've heard that, the contractions can be really intense. So, but she was like, but then I felt really supported by my team. Also, I was a bit sad that I wouldn't have had my home birth team who had become so important and integral to this kind of birth. But equally, I was very accepting of the fact that what will be will be. I think I was overdue by 2 weeks because I was scared about the home birth. And this is what I think. I think it was a psychological thing for me. Anyway, as soon as she said, we're going to have a great one, let it go, I started having rumblings. It was really weird. So I text Gowrie. I mean, this sounds really bizarre. And it just kind of worked out really. I texted her and I was like, I think I'm overdue, really overdue. They want me to go in tonight to break my water. She was like, don't get your waters broken. Come to me. I said, I think I'm feeling something, but you don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
So I went in the cab and I was just trying to be, and she got, we did reflexology and then she did cranio on me. And honestly, my surgeries became so much stronger and more regular with her. And she was talking me through it. It was incredible. And it was like my body was just submitting to the fact that like what will be, will be. Yeah. And that's the thing with birth. It's like you can't plan it as much as you want to. And so the surgeries were getting much stronger and it was really almost like delicious this feeling that I've been wanting to feel for so long. And then she was like, right, you're going to have the baby today. And I was like, so I don't have to go into the hospital? And she was like, no, you're fine. Get in the cab. But she put this weird high frequency thing in the headphones. So I had this weird high frequency. It was like, that literally was what I was listening to for 45 minutes to get home to keep me in the zone. I don't understand it, but it worked. Yeah. Anyway, got home. Sam had got the pool out. We told Amy doula, and then it just stopped. I think I got stage fright. The midwife came over and I was like, it was just working. I don't know what happened. She was like, cool. You just need to get a good night's sleep because this could happen tonight. Yeah. And anyway, she went home. Amy, I said, come on, can you just do some weird relaxation thing with me? And anyway, she did it. She did all this clearing of the chakras, all that, love it. And she said something like, let go. And my waters broke in the bed. And then it was game on. 4 hours later, he was out.
Oh my gosh.
Mental. It was so weird.
Do you find that motherhood has helped you creatively or has it? Because it's quite difficult if you've had a sleepless night to get into a studio or into a workspace and not feel totally drained and empty. Yeah. But then there are also times where actually having that creative outlet, it's a way to channel those emotions and kind of...
Definitely for Glasshouse, the last record, that was very much about the beginnings of motherhood. That record was really inspired by sleepless nights and waiting to be a mum. And actually, I've always been quite strict since I've had the kids. If I am in the studio, it's going to be maximum 6 hours. And I'm like, if you can't get an idea by that point, let's just go home. Doesn't matter. I don't need to jam it out till 4 a.m. I'm cool. Yeah, like I got other shit to do. The sleepless nights actually were really helpful, I think, me going into another kind of world with my mind and creativity. This time around, I've written a record that's like filth and about late nights and dancing, everything that I'm not doing. So it's like pure escapism.
About all the sexy time.
Yeah, and like but that's been quite fun too, and it's been inspired by parenting, I guess, in a different way, a reaction. But yeah, no, I think it's sometimes. Yeah, that kind of weird feeling you feel when you've had no sleep. It kind of can bring magic out, but also can absolutely make you not be able to speak, even though I had a good night's sleep.
Well, because you're no longer censoring yourself, I guess. Because you're just like, that layer is gone.
Slightly drunk, aren't you? Yeah.
What has surprised you the most about motherhood?
A newfound respect for my husband in a different way. I love, what surprised me, what I'm finding hard at the moment is my daughter's personality is coming out, and I feel like I can't protect her the whole time. Yeah. And that is really hard when they're doing things and you're like, oh, babe. And it's fine. Like, it's fine. They need to work it out. But that thing of like, it's hard. I forgot, but I now remember what it was like being a kid. Yeah. And it's quite hard. And that's something that I thought I'd be more kind of like, cool, I want to protect her the whole time. Obviously you do. Yeah. Your daughter, but that's something that I'm finding really
Makes you
hard to
understand
bite
why
my
your mum's kind of like, no, don't do that. That's
Yeah.
not, do no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's something that I'm finding really hard at the moment, just because I just want her to be okay, and of
Yeah.
course she's going to be fine. But anyway, what surprised me about motherhood? Oh man, there's so much. It's just
You spent your whole childhood knowing that motherhood was what you wanted.
yeah.
Is it what you thought it was going to be?
It's this is something that I was going to actually talk about in the letter.
Oh,
If
yeah.
we-
Well, as you know,
yeah.
I have been working on a book called Letters on Motherhood. It's the next non-fiction that's out next year in February 2020.
So clever.
Well, it's a series of letters all based around motherhood, like it says
That's
on the tin. And I was going to ask you, if you were to write a letter who based around motherhood, who would it be to, and what would you say?
Well, firstly, I write letters to my kids every birthday.
Oh,
And I do it, and it's really wonderful because it gets you to remember things that you maybe will forget. But anyway, so I've never written a letter to myself, but if I was going to write it to myself or a new mum, I think to me, I would say motherhood may not be everything you expect, and it may not be everything you need, and you mustn't feel guilty about needing other things such as a career.
yeah.
And you're going to find it harder than you thought, and it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's also going to be the best thing you've ever done in your life. But it doesn't have to define you, even though you thought potentially it would.
Yeah.
And you can't be perfect all the time. And that, I think I was so ready to be the most perfect mum, and I'm definitely not. No, nobody is, I don't think. But
Yeah.
like, I think I was. I think I'd just forgive yourself a little bit. Don't be so hard on yourself, because you're going to get things wrong, and it will be fine. But it won't define you as much as you thought it would, and that's okay too. It doesn't mean that you can't adore your children and adore being a mother. But I mean, I'm still having to say this to myself, but like the guilt, it's
Yeah.
going to be there from the
Well, it's
beginning.
that weird thing. It's like you just touched on. It's that thing of you knew that you always wanted to be a mum.
Yeah.
I'm the same. That's what I thought I would. When I had my kids, I thought wouldn't work, that they would be my life. And then this career grew, and all of a sudden, I want that too. And it's really hard to admit, I love you, but actually, I want to be working. I want to be
Yeah.
doing the other
Yeah.
stuff, because that is me too.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, for you to say it, yeah, it's very similar. You know, I think I started out in music a bit later. I got signed when I was 27, so potentially I could have had a career for 7 years earlier, 5-7 years earlier, and also I could have a career that I don't like,
Yeah.
and therefore I would want to maybe not be doing it.
Yeah.
I love my job, and I love my life, and I love the fact that my children are in my life and they're able to experience a lot of my life that maybe lots of children may not be able to experience with their families. But it's going to be it's a bit messy, but we seem to make it work. But yeah, I think I need to be a bit kinder to myself, to be honest about it. I think I'm quite hard on myself.
I think we all are. I think sometimes the kindness comes from realising that we all are
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd say once a month, me and Tom sit down together and we're like, something's got to give.
Really,
Yeah, the balance is just not right.
really.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually we just push ourselves, push.
And then what happens?
And then we sit down, one of us cries, probably me. And then you just have that release and be a bit kind to yourself. And then the next month you realise that you pushed yourself to that point again.
Yeah, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right?
Yeah.
Because Tom works full time.
Yeah. So we both work in the day, kind of balancing childcare. So his parents kind of work for us and deal with the school runs, and Max now.
That's amazing.
They started having Max when he was 1. And and then in the evenings we put the kids to bed, and then from 7 we're back in our offices. So we don't talk to each other.
It's hard, that, man.
Yeah. So from January, I think we're going to scale back in the evenings, actually.
So what time are you working till?
Sometimes 11, midnight sometimes.
So you never have just that intimacy.
No.
I think that's something I'd say in the letter too. It's a right old juggling act, but that you do. I remember a friend of mine was texting me yesterday, just being like she was pissed off with her husband.
Yeah.
She's been stay at home like the whole time since. She's on maternity leave at the moment, and it's been quite full on. And she's loving it, absolutely loving it. But she's got to that point where the baby's about 8.5 months, and she's a bit bloody knackered. She just wants a little break. And she said the husband annoyed her. I was like, I remember with my daughter, it was from around the 8.5, 9 month mark over the 1 year where me and my husband were getting on so badly. And I think we were just so tired. And that kind of initial haze of being a new mum is lifted. And then it's like, okay, this is really mental and amazing, but wow. And,
but relentless.
Yeah, relentless. And I think it's really important to still find time for you as like a couple. And it's really hard because it feels like a sacrifice. Like you feel guilty but you need to find the time because otherwise you just become this like operation.
It is that. It totally
is.
Yeah.
But you forget that the reason you had babies was because you quite liked each other.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to sometimes remind yourselves of and to make that effort with each other.
Yeah. I think it's becoming aware, isn't it, of how you are with each other. And if you're having those conversations or if you're just literally snapping at each other over breakfast to get things done before the kids leave for school or, you know. So I think we are aware of it and we're kind of, making sure that... Because I think up until about 2 months ago, I always thought, no, our time or my time or our time together, it's the family time. And then actually, no, that time is spent in the park with one of us behind the pram, the other one chasing the boys on the bikes because they've gone off. So actually, you might have those brief moments where you look at each other and go, oh, look what we made.
Well, I always think that like going out for breakfast is going to be great. No, it's always stressful. It's really stressful. Going out for dinner is shit because one of them's not eating or one of them's crying or one of them's doing a poo and it's just, it just never works out the right way. So you have this kind of rose-tinted view of it, but no, totally.
And not putting those pressure on those moments, like the park.
Exactly.
You see people on Instagram, it's great if they want to capture that 5 seconds where everyone was smiling and it was all great. That's why I think I'm really conscious of when I post things like that to mention the before or after, to put it into context.
Totally.
Because I feel really bad if I put a picture of me and Tom up and there's a #couple goals. Like, no, guys, no.
No, we hated each other this morning. Literally, No, it's funny you saying that, G, because like you are writing your book. You finished it now.
Yes. Yeah, page proof.
You were doing it with a 1-year-old, under one.
Yeah.
I did a similar thing with the cookbook.
Yeah.
And like doing it, you just weirdly make it work though, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
And it's all a bit rough around the edges, but it's kind of, you just make it work. But it's...
Well, the letters book, and I guess recipes are the same actually, because it's bits. Do you know what I mean? That all feeds together to create this one big bit that you obviously got to make sure that it all gels. Yeah. But you can sit down. So say I had a run-in with someone at a swimming pool, a mum that really upset me. Yeah, so I sat down and wrote her a letter. It was actually great therapy for me.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I got it all out. Yeah.
Thank you for being a dick.
Yeah, thanks so much.
What did she do?
Oh, she was awful. Buddy was having a meltdown and she came over and basically interfered, completely undermined me and just told me that, kept repeating that she was a more experienced mother.
Oh my
in a
God.
really condescending tone. Yeah, literally made me cry quite a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's more to it, but yeah. So I went home and wrote her a letter. But then also writing letters to myself, writing letters to the boys. It's like therapy. But like I said about the cookbook as well, you'd have recipes that you focus on. So it's kind of an intense moment for that recipe, and then you can have a break and then go on something else. Whereas when I'm writing fiction, my head's got to be in the game because that's a whole like through thought and story arc.
Yeah, right. That must, I'm not getting into fiction anytime soon. Hell no. The cookbook was enough for me. Yeah, boy, oh boy.
But you're recording as well.
Yeah, I'm recording. Well, I've actually kind of recorded. I think we're like finishing off the record next week.
Yeah.
And that will be going next year, like starting properly. I'm a bit scared about that, to be honest. Like, I'm scared about how that works alongside the podcast. Weirdly feels, even though it takes up so much time, it is such a pleasure. But like, I don't know, there's something about the fact that we can do it around whether the kids have been put to bed, then you have somebody come over at 7, and whether it's my nanny or Sam being with them in bed, at least I know they're there and I'm downstairs and I'm just, I don't know, and it's but yeah, there's the fear of promo with
And leaving the house.
leaving the house. Yeah, exactly.
That's where you do everything. at
Having to
home.
make an effort, but like leaving the house and potentially having to go away a bit. Like it's all a bit unknown. But maybe I'll do it a bit differently this time. I don't know.
How do you think you could work it?
I think I'll just do less.
Yeah.
Just do really important stuff. I'm 4 albums in now, so I'm like, I know when something is really necessary and when something is actually I can do without it. And I think there's the art of saying no on both parts. Yeah, So I think I will just try a bit. I'll be a bit stricter, and I have I have really good management. I have a really brilliant husband who can keep me in check a bit as well.
Yeah.
If I'm like, it's fine. I think I'll do it. Talk to me in a year.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you kind of feel like you've
You don't know how
loosely
it's
got a
gonna go
grip
either.
of what's going on already in your life.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
But and knowing that this other thing is looming.
Oh,
and
mate.
no matter how much you love it, it's like I feel like when it's a book tour coming or whatever, how much I'm going to love that. I found it about the tour, the Having My Bad Baby tour. I've just got to get through that. And I was like, what were you doing?
No, enjoy it. You've got
Enjoy
to
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think that's something that doing the podcast and having children, I've slowed down in the sense of I haven't slowed down at all, but in the sense of I'm able to take in and appreciate what's happening a bit more
Yeah.
than when I first started out. I think now I'm like I sung at the Royal Albert Hall the other day. I did 2 nights. I sung a song each night. I took it in and I looked. 2 years ago, I would have been so scared, wouldn't have appreciated it, would have said, I did a really shit job. I was like, I'm going to enjoy this. And I think it's infectious,
Yeah.
And I think like the podcast has given me that confidence in my ability in music and kind of being a working mum. And I don't know, it's given me...
Do you think motherhood's also had an effect?
Yes, absolutely. I think you just don't have time or care as much because there's far more important things to worry about, such as your children and their welfare. And I love that. It's kind of it's emancipated me in the sense that like I feel freer and I feel you don't give a shit as much. And I love that. I used to care so much what people thought.
Really?
And I remember you saying that in one of your podcasts, like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you feel that with your children, like whether that's helped you kind of.
Absolutely. I
got
think with
bigger fish to
friendships and
fry.
stuff as well.
Yeah.
People that, I think we all have people in our lives that don't want to be in our lives. And you're just like, no, be my friend. I think this could work. And then I think motherhood happens and you're kind of like, actually, I don't have time. You don't want to be in my life. That's fine. I don't feel like certain things shouldn't be as hard as some people make them. And actually it's taking a step back and kind of going, that's fine.
I think there's something so humbling and wonderful about if you've had a ridiculously stressful day and then you get home and you're with your kids and it can be so simple. It absolutely can. And you just need to focus on this little person that you've made and they are wicked and they say something really funny. And then you just go, I don't even remember what I was pissed off about before I walked through the door. They're wicked when they start speaking, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Although
shit they come out with.
Buddy's the same age as your daughter and his jokes are literally just the word
Poo?
poo.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Poo.
Yeah.
But why do I laugh? So much. So much.
So good. So we end each podcast
Yeah.
with you, with each episode, with you finishing 3 sentences.
Oh, okay, come on then.
Being a mum means.
I should have fucking prepared this.
Not the first time.
Being a mum means everything. But not really everything, as I've said. Does that work?
It does work. It totally
Everything,
works.
if you know what I mean, but not everything. Yeah, cool.
Since being a mum, I
Look really old.
feel that.
Mate, I don't think I'll ever sleep right again.
No.
And I now wee
lighter.
every time I laugh a bit. Well, that's fine though. I can kind of deal with that. It's fine.
It's sad.
But it's the bags.
yeah.
Since being a mum, I need more concealer.
I was literally plucking out grey hairs when I was in labour with Max.
Oh, I don't even have time to dye the hair at the moment.
No, I don't.
And I don't really give a shit. That's the thing.
Postpartum fluff.
Oh my
It's
God,
like-
mine is off the scale. Look at that. It's like amazing.
So you've got a fringe.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's kind of like that Girl Interrupted fringe where you've been in the mental institution. You've got it, yeah.
And I'm happy when.
It's us four in bed in the morning. They've got their bottles and we've got a cup of tea. And for that split second, everything is calm. And you look at them and you're like, you are amazing. That sleepy face.
I love the split second part of that sentence.
You know what I mean, though?
Exactly.
But maybe it's not a split second.
Take it.
But it's just like that beautiful thing. They've just woken up and they're a bit groggy and you give them their bottle and they're just like, they don't move for a second. And everyone's there. Yeah, my favourite part, the morning. If they have slept all right through the night. You know what I mean? That's like my idea of heaven, like a Sunday morning. And then, you know, you've got Ella Fitzgerald going on in the back. No, I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's Moana or Frozen or Spice Girls. My daughter's obsessed with Spice Girls. Which is really cool. She's like, can I have the Zigga Zagga? But it's so funny because we had Mel B on the podcast and I got a picture with her with the Spice Girl.
Yeah.
My daughter's literally in the picture being like, get off me. Who are you?
One day she'll fully
Yeah,
appreciate it.
exactly.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh
for the
God,
podcast.
I'm scared about what I said, but this is, but hey, it's such a pleasure.
It's so funny the table's being turned.
Oh
isn't
mate,
it?
it's really worrying. I hope that I sound like an okay mum.
You sound like an amazing mum.
You're sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely not, but it's cool.
You
I love
are.
it.
I
It's
think the thing
best.
about this podcast is it's all about, it doesn't matter who you are, what you have, what you do, we all face the same things, you know, and I think that's what unifies us. Motherhood should unite us
Totally.
rather than like make us go, you do that wrong.
No,
It does
totally.
nothing.
No,
you know.
I know. It's interesting, isn't it? The kind of shaming, but it's just, yeah, I haven't really had that.
No.
And I think I've got such a brilliant set of like sisters and mothers around me that we're all just working it out. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
But no, thank you. And honestly, your podcast is really brilliant. Like, I love it. And I'm really touched to be on it. So
Aw,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now I need to read some of your fiction.
I'll send you some.
But no, thanks for having me. It's been
Thanks.
so fun.
Thank you.
Pleasure.